Hello, hello. I am here to do a book review again, only because I like to do this. I'm not a professional. I just like to talk. Basically, I'm going to talk about the book. I'm not going to, well, I am going to review this one actually. I don't think I have actually given a star rating on any of the other ones. I'm going to try to remember to do that. This one was a 4 out of 5 stars. The only reason it's a 4 out of 5 stars is the only reason I didn't give the 5th star is because it's not my normal jam. It's not my genre. It's kind of I don't know if it's a feel good book, but it's like family fiction, I guess, literary fiction, family style, but it was amazingly written. So that's why I didn't give it a 3 out of 5, because this girl can write. So yeah, the book is Kin. We're actually doing this for book club. So if you are not done reading it and you're in my book club, do not listen to this until you're done. And hopefully we'll actually talk about the book at book club. I always get sidetracked at book club. So that's why, another reason why I do these. Do you like my chicken pot? He's cute, right? Or he or she, I don't know. Anyway, let's do this review. So I always write my reviews this style, like I'm being graded myself on them. Like it looks like a high school kind of book report. Not an actual book report, but like a book questions at the end, a quiz about the book, which I like that. Quiz to myself, make sure I'm retaining the information, which has been good for me because sometimes when I read, and this one I listened to again, I am reading. Did I bring that book up here? I don't know if I did. Oh, yeah, I did. We're going to talk about that too. So this is Kin by Tayari Jones. And I wrote that, and this is my guess, literary fiction, family saga, African American literature. And the vibe is character driven. I read that somewhere. Reflective and emotional, multi-generational, and bittersweet. It's a bittersweet story. So the hook, I didn't really have, there wasn't really a hook. The hook was that the story unfolds and it takes a minute to explain kind of the scene of the opening scene, I guess. And then from there, you're just like, what's going to happen next? What's going to happen next? And so there's not really like like usually the books that I read, like murder mysteries, like there's a murder, it opens that way, or a murder happens as you're reading right away. There's something, boom, right in front. This one kind of, the news that she gives you right at the beginning is big. So there's that. So, and again, this might be a spoiler alert, but I'm just going to read kind of what it's about. It's about two kind of motherless girls. One's mother got killed when she was 6 months old. The other one left her with her grandmother to raise. And I won't say why, but you got to just read it. It's a good book. Let's see. One raised by her grandmother, one raised by her aunt. Both of those women were very nurturing and caring, but not like cuddly and touchy-feely and, I love you. Not that kind of. They're very tough love ladies, but they took care of their girls. Let's see. Also, I said this. I was captivated by Tayari Jones's writing. Her characters are really authentic. The story went a bit slower than I am used to, but it kept a good pace. Like the pace was good. I'm just used to, and then it's like you're chasing. So this one is just more, it's deep. You sink in to the scene, you sink into the characters. There's depth there and the quality. And once you sink into that, then the pace is perfect. So you just have to, if you're used to more of those, like my type of mystery, murder, thriller, that type of stuff. And there are some parts in this that are, whoa, in there, but you got to just read enough to find the pace and then it'll be perfect. It was a wonderful story about family identity and the ties that bind us. It was good. Okay, so what stood out to me was the closeness of the core group. So at the beginning of the book, when you're hearing about the aunt and the grandmother and the small town and how close everyone is there, but then later, trying not to give too much away, but later one of them goes off to college, the other one goes to Memphis with a group. So she goes to Memphis, and this is back way on back where not everyone has cars, so you get a ride from, there's always people getting rides, and there's a lot of buses and things like this for transportation. So one of the girls, the girl who mother left her with her grandmother, that girl was wanting to go to Memphis, and she basically sneaks and runs away because her grandmother's like, don't go, don't go, don't go. Just wait, just wait, just wait. And pretty much everybody was like, just wait, just wait. She couldn't wait. She wanted to go. So she got a job to save money to run away. And at the job, there was a guy, and they were like flirty, and she thought they were going to get together. And then his cousin, and then when they came to pick her up, so that's the group that she was traveling with. And when they came to pick her up, that guy, not the cousin, but the guy that she thought she was going to get together with, had a girlfriend, and she was kind of thinking about not going, but then she's like, I'm just going to go anyway. And she kind of had a bad attitude, but then they got really close, and they ended up having to stop somewhere and stay for a while, because that's what you did back then. Like if you couldn't make it, you stopped somewhere, and you could kind of find work or a barter system, like whatever your talent was, you could do that there and regroup, maybe collect some money and or pay a certain, pay in labor and then keep going. So that group got really close, and where they stayed, she got close with a few of the women where they stayed. It was just really cool how it was back then. And this is two Black girls heading off into the world away from their tiny little small town. But this back then also happened in many other cultures, and like white people in a way, just the average white person, you traveled that way. You stopped over and you gave what you could, whether it be offering services. That sounded wrong, but you washed dishes or clothes or sewed some stuff or whatever it was, and then you moved, and then you kept going. So nothing was a rush. Like everything was just very much slower pace. Maybe that's also why it took me a minute to get used to the pace of the book, because it was back then when things were at a slower pace, and you took weeks or months to get somewhere, not hours. Like we want to be there now. So it was really cool. So, and then the other girl went to college, and that was getting her to college was a whole thing. Again, traveling is a lot slower, and you have to be more patient with it and take it when you can or how you can, especially if you don't have a lot of money. So once she got to where she was going, she formed bonds with the girls in the college that she went to. And that's kind of my real life reflection as well. You wrote to each other with letters, and letters, like now we have mailmen that drive trucks, and we have several mail people that are bringing stuff. We have mail carrying, we have package services, we have Amazon now. So, and we have email. So everything was just slower. To get a letter took like a month or a couple weeks, maybe not a few days like it does here, unless you're writing far away, but even still way faster than it was back then. And there's just people taking care of people, like even further back than that. Like you just went on your way. No, maybe you had a map. The maps weren't as detailed. Now we have it on our phone and it tells us when to turn. Back then it was, you had a compass. I don't know. I don't think you had a printed map either, maybe a written map. So it was just very different, and people welcomed you into their homes because they were along the way, which I thought is really interesting. What it would be like to live back then, trade off some of the things we have now. Excuse me. Favorite line or moment. So not really a line or a moment, but These two girls were basically raised like sisters. They were best friends, had a lot of similarities, and they were tight. And they left home and they were supposed to leave together. But, the one that snuck away wanted the other one to go to college. I think she really wanted her to come with her, but she also, didn't want to obligate her. So even when they split apart, even though Annie is the one that went to Memphis and Vernice is the one that went to college. So Annie left in the middle of the night and kind of left Vernice. Like normally she told Vernice everything, but this time she didn't. And everybody expected Vernice to know. They thought Vernice was just holding her secret and not telling anyone where she was. And really she didn't know. And it kind of hurt her feelings, but she set that aside. Once they connected, once they were where they were going to be, they started writing letters to each other. And then once they went to visit, it was like nothing bad happened. Nothing at all. Like no matter what, they were still best friends and they were still going to do anything for each other, which I thought was so sweet. I don't have any book comparisons, but if you love deep character exploration, then this book is for you. My final take, like I said, 4 out of 5 stars. I don't normally do that. And if you like this type of book, it would be a 5-star for you. It had good, deep, rich in character was my final take on the whole thing. Again, a little slower than I'm used to, but it has a good pace once you adjust. So if you did read it, well, I'll ask you that in a minute. So basically, what I loved about it was the relationships, the family loyalty versus personal freedom, which when they both went and they experienced personal freedom, they also had their loyalty still, but also then had loyalties to other families, which I thought was really cool. Maybe not blood families, but group families. There was no mystery for me to solve here, no villain. So the tension came from watching the characters and their family members navigate old wounds. If you've ever listened to our podcast, Yoga and Other Shit, we do talk about the mother wound a lot. And it was a mother wound book. So it was pretty cool that I circled back around to that. Expectations and secret. So watching them navigate these wounds plus expectations and secrets while trying to figure out who they are outside of the roles that they inherited. So if you did read it already, did you connect with any of the family relationships? Like, are there similarities to some of your family goings on and these goings on? My family, I didn't sneak out or run away, but I left the family early and came back a few times, which these girls did not. These girls did not come back to lean on the family, but they could lean on from afar, which I thought was cool. And the people that they were with took over as family for them to lean on. It was a pretty cool book. But yeah, that's all I got to say. I do have another book that I'll be reading, and I would love if I just started it last night. I'm going to get it, and I want to just show you because I would love it if you read it too, and maybe you could leave some comments about it here, and then I'll do another review, and I can ask or answer any of those questions somehow. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Hold on. And I forget what it was on. I don't think it was Oprah. I don't know if it was Reese Witherspoon's best-selling, all the read this book type thing. But this book, The Last One at the Wedding by, I don't know how to say, Jason Rachael. Anyway, it's pretty good so far. So part conspiracy thriller, part family drama. The Last One at the Wedding kept my heart racing and my mind reeling from its first page to its devastating conclusion. Oh no. So right now it's a father-daughter situation going on as I'm reading it. She called after not talking to him for a while, called out of the blue and said, "Hey, I'm getting married. I want you to be there." So that's how it starts. That's where I am. So where it takes place, oh, let me show you, because I love a map. So my third book that I'm writing is going to have a map. Another book, God of the Woods, that I did a review on already, also has a map. I love a map in a book. So there it is. So so this is gonna get you going. So yeah, if you can, read this book and let's talk about it. So I guess the best way is to leave comments here on this one, questions as you're reading. So go get it now and read it, and I will check back later and see if anyone gave me any comments. Don't be mean. But if you want to do a kind of a book club type thing, I will read your questions, comments, what you thought of the book on the review that I do on this book. I'm also going to be listening to another book. I haven't decided which one. So it'll probably be the book. Hold on. I'm a little behind on these, but a little behind. I just read this one, Throne of Glass. So I'm going to be listening to the next one. I don't even remember what it's called, but I have it in my queue, ready to read, not read, listen to, read. So, but we'll talk about this when I review the last one at the wedding. So that's going to be my next book. I would love it if you read it with me. Let's get this thing going. Maybe we can start doing some lives and get some feedback or a conversation going. I would love that. I'm just really into this whole book thing these days, and I know there's a lot of reviewers out there, and I don't know why there isn't more reviewers out here. I think we should all be talking about this. Something like this instead of the yuck and the negativity. Let's talk about these fun, not that, I mean, there's plenty of negative stuff in these books, but then we could talk about how much we liked them or didn't like them. So anyway, last one at the wedding. Get it? Let's talk about it. Read it, and we'll review it together. Anyway, see you guys soon.